North Carolina was the site of England's first attempt at colonization in America. It all started in 1584, when Queen Elizabeth I granted a charter to a vast region of land along the east coast of America to her friend Sir Walter Raleigh. Explorers from England searched for a good site for a colony, and they selected Roanoke Island just off the mainland of North Carolina. The following year, over 100 men and boys arrived at the island. Their goal was to create a base for supplying English warships. But they soon realized that the island's shallow waters would make running such a base impossible. And so they abandoned their mission and returned to England. The next attempt at colonization happened 2 years later, when a group of 117 men, women, and children sailed off to colonize land further north in Virginia. But due to some confusion, they ended up at Roanoke Island too. After several months on the island, there were struggles with the Native Americans, and the colonists needed more supplies. So the ship that had brought them to America returned to England to get them. However, a major war broke out between Spain and England, and the English needed every ship they could find. As a result, 3 years passed by before the supply ship could safely return to Roanoke Island. When the ship finally got back in 1590, the island was deserted. In fact, the only sign of the colonists were the letters C-R-O, carved in a tree. These letters may have been a reference to Croatoan Island to the south. But to this day, the fate of the Roanoke colonists of North Carolina remains a great mystery, and no trace of them has ever been found. By the time the 8 Lords Proprietors began to govern North Carolina in 1663, a small area not far from Roanoke Island had already been settled by a few people who had been indentured servants and small-time tobacco farmers in Virginia. The town of Bath, seen here, is the oldest town in North Carolina, founded in 1705. 3 years after it was founded, Bath had 12 houses, a shipyard, a mill for grinding grain, and 50 residents. The town was frequently visited by a man named Edward Teach, also known as Blackbeard, a pirate who terrorized shipping lanes along the southern coast of America. During its early days, North Carolina's main exports were tobacco, furs, and forest products for wooden ships, such as timbers, turpentine, pitch, resin, and tar. Eventually, North Carolina changed from being a privately owned proprietorship colony to a royal colony. The king built a beautiful palace for his governor, William Tryon, right before the outbreak of the Revolutionary War, and for a short time, Tryon Palace served as the home of North Carolina's colonial legislature. But another purpose of this fine building was to remind the colonists of England's strength and greatness during a time of growing political turmoil in America.